1% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get punked, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, AB skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in they Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the Hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters gon' move, whatever click you choose.
Say what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. You're down. For those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. Yeah, that was me gassing right there on that intro song. And if you want to get that, it is available only for purchase on a 10-song EP that you get straight from me by digital download link. If you're interested, hit me up on my email, 16tolifemusic@gmail.com. Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle me $20. And I'm going to get it to you ASAP, man. Say, what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. You're down. For those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. Yeah, that's me gassing right there on that intro. And if you want to get that song, it is available by purchase on a 10-song EP that you get direct and only from me. If you're interested, hit me up on my email. That's 16tolifemusic@gmail.com. Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle me $20, and I'm going to get it to you ASAP. So now it looks like Big U may not be going to his son's funeral after all. And that is the side that I'm leaning on now. A couple of days ago, I erroneously reported in a video that Big U was going to be allowed to attend his son's funeral. And I did that on the strength of another YouTuber report, another YouTuber known as Eddie Boy, who has been keeping current with the happenings and going on in Big U's RICO trial. So I showed you guys that video, and he said that he had the paperwork and that Big U was going to be allowed to go to the trial. So I reported what he was reporting without doing much due diligence, right? I looked into the situation, and I saw that the judge was going to rule on it today, but due to the fact that I had seen Eddie Boy in the past cover this situation with what seemed accurate information, I went ahead and I ran with what he said. In the video that I did make, though, I said several times, no less than 3 times, that I was extremely surprised that the judge was allowing Big U to go, and it was nothing short of a miracle due to the severe nature of the charges that Big U was being charged with. A lot of times when you're facing time that may not allow you to see the streets again in your natural lifetime, or you're facing a life sentence, the judge and the court system will deny that individual access to the streets in order to attend a funeral or anything, just due to the amount of time that you're facing. Because you're facing so much time, it makes you an extreme flight risk, right? And so also, there was a viewer, man, I believe his name was Keith B. Shout out to Keith B. He left in the comments and he said, hey, Chill, this information doesn't seem accurate. I can't find anything, basically confirming this. And, you should probably do some more checking into this, right? Well, so what I believe, where Eddie Boy aired at, right, and his intentions was good. I believe what he had and what he read was just the request. Basically, Big U's legal team or his lawyer had to file a request in order for Big U to be released from the detention center that he's being held in. I believe he's being held in the MDC, the Metropolitan Detention Center, which is a federal facility in Los Angeles. I believe that's where he's being held. And so his lawyers have to file a request to ask the judge permission. And so I believe that's what Eddie Boy had got a hold of, and he mistakenly thought that was a ruling for the judge or something of that nature. So of course, when Big U's legal team files a request, as the legal system works, where regardless of whatever side, when any side files a request of something in the court, the other team or the other side has a chance to respond. And so once the prosecution has responded, of course, and the prosecution is always going to deny anything that the or oppose anything that the lawyer of the individual requests. But of course, in this situation, it definitely was not unexpected that the prosecutor would reply and say that Big U was, among other things, a risk to the community. He was a danger to the community. He was a danger to his witnesses, so on and so forth. They also listed a few other things in their reply, saying basically that Big U had been in the facility that he's currently housed in, basically not listening to the rules, making calls in other people's account to his family members, because I guess you can only make calls in your name or in your own account. So if something is said over the phone, then they can know who to trace that back to and things of that nature. So they are alleging that Big U is using other people's phone time in order to call whoever he wants to call, right? And they're saying a lot of things like that, right? And so like I said in my last video that I did make, when I said that Big U would be allowed to go, I said several times that I just couldn't believe it, because it was a miracle, just due to the way I know that the system works, the way I know that they are against anybody that's housed and accused of a crime. And Big U has some serious charges, that will some of those charges, I believe the minimum of all those charges that he's facing, they carry 20 years. It's a mandatory. If he's found guilty on any of those charges, he's facing 20 years. And so with him already being in his late 50s, that's something that would make anybody potentially maybe not want to be held accountable to and become a flight risk, right? And so that was that situation right there. And so this time, though, I looked further into the situation. When I'm seeing these different stories, I looked further into the situation and I found some information, right? And so I'm going to share that information with you guys now. So according to federal regulations, I believe it's 28 CFR F70.42, a person housed in the federal detention center, whether that being a pretrial detention center or if you're in a federal building where you have already, or a federal institution where you have already been sentenced to the crime, for a crime, you can request what's known as a non-medical escorted trip, and you have to put in a request for that, right? And then the head of the BOP or the warden in whatever facility that you're at can approve or deny that request along the lines of whatever your legal team submitted and the reasons that you gave that you are requesting this trip to begin with, right? So basically, I did some research and I was able to come up with some things. And let me read you guys the motion that actually was filed, for Big U's release, and it's called Application for Temporary Release. It says, now basically what he's filed is on a religious basis, right? Religious or funeral basis, right? Henley's attorneys emphasize that he and his family are devout Muslims and that the Islamic funeral rites are required duties for immediate family members. In the motion, Henley requests to attend the private rites, and then it has in parentheses, not necessarily the public burial. Specifically, rites are scheduled for, and it gives the date that it's scheduled for, which is in a few days, right? Out of respect for him and his family, I'm not gonna mention the exact date. I don't know if they've made that public information or not, so I'm not gonna do it. But it says so another one of the things they have here is conditions or safeguards, right? So he's proposing strict security measures, including electric monitoring while he's out, private security detail independent during the release, a fixed itinerary going from the detention center, MDC LA, to the mosque mortuary, no contact with co-defendants, witnesses, or victims during the trip, payment of all costs by his family for security, transport, etc. Then number 3, compelling reasons for the argument. His lawyers argue that the death of his son is a compelling reason under the law, and that denying him this opportunity would inflict an additional profound layer of suffering beyond what he's already experiencing as a grieving father. They frame it not just as a personal wish, but as a fundamental expression of human dignity recognized across cultures and legal systems. Logistics. The motion says that he would leave MDC LA at 8 o'clock to go to the Islamic Center mortuary and attend the funeral rites, and then return. The itinerary is very narrowing defined, and the request is only for the day of the rites and not for broader release or more freedom. Legal basis. The lawyers cite pretrial release authority under federal law, the Bail Reform Act. A court may grant temporary release for another compelling reason. They emphasize that their request is narrow and limited in scope, showing that they are trying to minimize risks. Now, here's the government's permission. The federal prosecutors. According to the complex, government opposes his request. The government appears to argue that the risks, public safety, potential flight security outweigh the narrowness of the request through their full written opposition, and it hasn't been filed or made publicly available. And then, like I mentioned earlier, the hearing is scheduled for today, November the 17th, 2025, before Judge Fernando L. Anil Rocha on the EPA for temporary release motion. At that hearing, the judge will hear from both Henley's legal team and the government, and possibly victims or others, though not guaranteed, and decide whether to grant the temporary release with the conditions Henley proposed, or maybe some modified version. If granted, Henley could be escorted under the proposed strict conditions. If denied, he would likely remain in custody without attending the rites or, of course, the funeral and burial of his son. And so there we have it there, a more accurate description of the going-ons in the current event pertaining to whether Big U will be allowed to go see his son or not, right? And so once again, I'm saying that I do not believe that the judge will agree with the proposal by Big U's legal team due to the nature of charges that Big U is facing. I believe Big U is facing a 43 count indictment. And one of the charges in that indictment, of course, is they saying that he's responsible for a rapper and his death by the name of, I believe, Rashawn Williams, a murder that occurred out there in Vegas, right? And so this is what the district attorney does, right? He's going to go in there and he's going to make Big U seem like an extreme flight risk and or a danger to society. He's going to say that, you know, Big U has been charged with murder. He's going to say that Big U is a very well-known, dangerous and menacing leader of a notorious gang, the Rolling 60s Crips from Los Angeles. And he's, you know, Big U has, he has extorted individuals. He has been violent, so on and so forth, right? That is what the district attorney is going to go in there and do. You know, he may show some video clips from YouTube. Who knows what he may do, right? But one thing that is certain that he will do is he will try to make Big U appear to be a monster times 10 in order to get their motion denied, right? And so once again, even though I reported erroneously that he was being allowed, and in that video, once again, I reiterate, I said several times that I just couldn't believe it, and it was a miracle because I know the games that the district attorney plays, and I know that more likely than not, the court always sides with the prosecution, and they'll claim the reason that they're doing that is in favor of public safety, right? So once again, I don't believe Big U will be allowed to go to his son's funeral, unfortunately. But anyway, we're going to see how this pans out. You already know who it is. It's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.